You, you ever feel like you're having a bad day? Face down, cheeks up over here. It most definitely does, at this very moment. If it wasn't for the fact he was about to enter a big spoopy mode. This is Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, a one-off standalone adventure from the man, the myth, the legend himself, Shu Takumi. You know, the guy responsible for the banger that is Dino Crisis, as well as the even bigger banger that is the Ace Attorney series. But also bum ass over here.
And one more thing, I practiced very, very hard for 2 weeks for this appearance. So, should be me someday. It will make me very happy if it could speak in Japanese.
Man, I love this guy. I just wanna give him a big hug and buy him some ice cream or something. He had been practicing his English for 2 weeks straight for a presentation about a remaster of a game he'll know likely won't sell well. An absolute living legend, to me. Long before the aforementioned remaster would drop on June 30th of this year, the original Ghost Trick blessed the Nintendo DS as far back as 2010. Critics were applauding, players were over the moon. And it sold like shit. Instead of becoming a bestseller, its captivating gameplay earned itself a special place in the hearts of those who played it, becoming a bit of a cult classic. But yeah, low sales are low sales, and thus there was no reason for anyone to expect a remaster of this thing after about 13 years. But thanks to its 10-year anniversary in 2020, dozens of Change.org petitions for a remake, and the malfunctioning iOS 14 version leading to talks between Shu Takumi and Ghost Trick's original producer, Hironobu Takeshita, Capcom finally gave the green light for revisiting Shu Takumi's A Magnum Opus, hoping to give the game a second, more affordable, and successful life. A second chance at achieving greatness, if you will. According to this Google Doc, I found this game myself at 1:45 in the morning, a day before my 25th birthday. I have no idea what I was cooking, but I kinda forgot about it afterwards, crossing out different games off the list instead. That is until I came across the remaster announcement tweet in February of this year, being like, oh, yeah, I wanted to play that oddball looking game. So I guess now is the time. It's 7:02 on a quiet, ordinary night. A night one would describe as uneventful, unknowing of the scenes about to unfold in an abandoned junkyard, far, far away. A young lady's found herself with her back against the wall. A cold-blooded killer about to take care of business. All of this is happening right in front of the player's very eyes, making you want to intervene. However, there's a bit of a problem. You're already dead as hell. It's an introductory cutscene that immediately grabs your attention, alongside spawning a bunch of questions, because pointy hair over here can't remember anyone or anything. Who are you? What in the shady double assassination plot is going on here? Why am I not ascending to the pearly gates yet?
Why can't I fucking read?
Questions the game slowly but surely answers, starting with Ray the desk lamp, another unfortunate soul that met his fate tonight. While his identity and his role in the plot remain unknown for a very long time, he is actually able to tell you are one of the chosen ghosts that possesses the ability of the ghost trick, meaning the power to manipulate non-organic objects, connect and talk to recently deceased individuals, but most important of all, be able to time travel to the point of 4 minutes before said recently deceased individual's death, thus granting you 4 whole minutes to change their fate. However, there's a bit of a catch. 2 catches actually. Your soul will only exist in this world until dawn, after which you'll disappear forever. But to make matters worse, the power of the ghost trick cannot be used on one's own corpse, thus seemingly eliminating any chance of saving yourself. But just the same, you still want to know the story behind your unfortunate demise, before finally being able to rest in peace. What in God's name happened to end up like this? Luckily, the key to answering this question lies within touching distance. Literally. So you set out to save the life of the last person who saw you alive, a young red-haired detective revealed to be called Lynn, whose fate seems to be inextricably linked to your own, the both of you needing each other to find the answers you're looking for. Since you've got until dawn to solve the mystery, the game takes place in these 30-minute chapters, each and every chapter essentially being a puzzle level requiring ghostly tomfoolery to be solved. Lynn's or someone else's death being the center of it all. Mostly Lynn though. Someone really doesn't like this woman. That awkward moment when you get crushed by a giant chicken leg. Yeah. Saving these characters related to the inner depths of the mystery, it's genuinely some of the most fun I've had in gaming this year. And it's not like I've been playing a bunch of snoozers either. You see, Pointy Hair here is unable to manipulate the entire environment at will. In fact, he kinda has a limp dick range, and a starting point that's either the soul of a dead individual or a telephone booth. Because that's how you unlock and travel between new locations, by eavesdropping on and tracing a phone call. So now it's up to you to create a pathway and find a solution to the root cause of the problem. Open up a fridge and find a blender to aid you, briefly becoming a water drop to access objects out of range, or, and this is quite a little spoiler alert, opening up the garbage bin to get this ketchup can to make a circle on a napkin that then gets flushed down the toilet because the bin is full, and then gets reeled in by this guy that has a secret code bromance going on with a punk rocker where Circle gives him the okay to use his spoon to dig an escape route, and thus takes you to your destination. All of it taking place in these dynamic environments, with its moving objects and characters to utilize at different points in the chain reaction, in order to unlock a new location, or change someone's fate. And it's this chain reaction, making the correct moves in the correct order, that makes the gameplay so fucking satisfying. Figuring out what to manipulate, when to manipulate it, and pinning down the exact window of opportunity, all while taking into account the interactions between the objects and characters, and how that affects and changes the puzzle. It's addicting as fuck. Timing is everything in Ghost Trick, and figuring shit out in a 4-minute time frame, or while Lynn's about to drown because she can't swim for some reason, adds a whole lot of exciting tension to each and every puzzle. Way too long to transition from the ball to another object, and you'll be locked out of changing its course forever. Jump the gun too early, and this shovel swings at a whole lotta nothing. No puzzle feels even remotely similar and requires a healthy amount of creativity, often having to let the fitting themed objects interact in the most interesting ways, while never feeling too difficult either. The challenge truly is understanding the purpose of every little cogwheel of the scene at hand. Fortunately though, time will freeze upon switching to the ghost manipulation world, and there's a separate pause button in the world of the living as well. So you've got plenty of time to visualize the chain reaction, if needed. And even if you don't see the vision, these speech bubbles continuously pop up to give you hints or tell you missed your window of opportunity and should probably try again, as well as multiple fate changes in a level to act as checkpoints, to make said retrying much less of a setback. Worst case scenario, it takes a bit of trial and erroring. Such is the nature of the puzzle game. Calling it a 30-minute level selector is probably the most insulting shit I could have said though. Game's got a lot of flesh and personality with its well-paced story, expressive characters, attention to detail, and unnecessarily cool extras. It's a game to care about beyond its gameplay, is what I'm trying to say. One that manages to stay interesting all throughout. The story of the double junkyard homicide is told in bits and pieces through interesting dialogue by interesting characters and events that tie into each other rather well. This guy Lin looks up to is in prison for questionable reasons, ready to get executed tomorrow. But wait, the Justice Minister swore to never execute anyone anymore. What in the hell is going on here? But wait! Why does this guy have a painting of you? The dynamic between Lynn's and your path paralleling each other to eventually reach a common conclusion, as well as the character you play as knowing just as much as you do, thus making it feel like you're working this whole why am I dead this whole game thing out together, really makes for a gripping and unusual story around the puzzling. Shit wouldn't have been the same without the stylishly textured cast of misfits enacting the story though. Every character is an over-the-top, artistically exaggerated parody of themselves that breathes so much life into what could have been static cutscenes. You got like the head of the detective agency moaning through life, both in his movement and in his speech. Then there's like this one upright policeman showing off his big dumpy and being a drama queen about being called an airhead by his coworker, who, in contrast, is slouching on his chair while creating a house of cards and drinking wine on the job. Even the Italian chef singing, the punk rocker rocking on the move, the over-the-top serious police walk, and the acting important loser detectives being nothing more than the blue and green guy to their boss. It all adds a fuck ton of charm and charisma to the experience. Upon meeting them, every character is registered in this notebook, displaying a characteristic animation and a continuously updated description, telling you who they are and what their current role in the plot is, in case you're as stupid as me and sometimes forget. These can then be found as memories under the extras option, upon beating the game. I like that. Every single character has something memorable to them. It's a bunch of exaggerated stereotypes and extravagant personalities that continuously put a smile on your face with their wacky endings, while never making the plot feel like some sort of a joke. I especially adore Lynn's Pomeranian, who you get to converse with for quite a while attempting to reverse its death. When a character's dead, you always first connect with their soul before going back in time and rescuing them. This allows you to have a conversation before, during and after changing the course of the past, after which they remember and recognize you in their life moving forward. At least your heroics weren't in vain. But yeah, these convos give some insight into these characters' personalities and shit, as well as getting involved in the plot as a dead guy, rather than watching the plot unfold as an outsider. And through this, the Pomeranian is able to have an actual voice instead of a bark, and it's like the most adorable dog ever, only being concerned about his owner rather than his own death, wanting to give a warm welcome to his murderer, waffling about how he can't stop barking even if he tried. Bro's just hella adorable from the very first moment you see his sticker-like character model pop up, with his tiny tongue sticking out and shit. They've decided to stick to the game's roots for this remaster, and I honestly think that was the right decision. I've seen some discourse online assuming that this is the case because of a low budget, since it would be too risky of an investment. But there is something to say for wanting to stay true to the OG cult classic. I personally think it's a bit of both, but I love it all the same. Shit's an upscaled HD, a 60 FPS upgraded version of the original, but I don't think it needed much more than that. That and the obviously drastic change of it being a single screen experience now. It doesn't change a whole lot in terms of the gameplay though. It's just that the object's name and function are on the same screen as the manipulations now, instead of appearing on a separate screen. It's not intrusive in the slightest, and in fact I might prefer this over looking up and down on the DS. Not to mention the small quality of life detail of not being able to examine or manipulate anything that isn't going to be useful. thus leaving you with the pieces of the puzzle you need. I think this transition from 2010 to 2023 was a success overall. They upgraded the game's look while managing to preserve the DS look and feel. While the backdrops might have looked good in a more realistic HD jacket, the characters being disanimated all the time definitely wouldn't have translated well at all. To me, it would lose a part of its identity with some sort of an insane visual upgrade. The DS magic should not be taken out of it. On that same note, I saw some guy bitch about the lack of voice acting and animations in these cutscenes. Like, no! This could have been a valid criticism 13 years ago. But now? Come on, man. After all these years, the hardcore fanbase has their own ideas of what these characters sound like. And these cartoony, sticker-like models with their wide outlines and funny expressions, they're iconic. Throwing all that away and replacing it would do fuck all for this remaster. Same goes for the ill-informed demand for 16:9 instead of the 4:3 aspect ratio. Every complicated puzzle, mechanic and relevant cogwheel in the game, as well as every revelatory cutscene, has been designed with this specific field of view in mind. The hell you want 16:9 for? To see more empty, irrelevant backdrops? Or do you want them to fundamentally change the gameplay of the original to comply with a bigger aspect ratio? Fuck out of here, man. All that extra space around the sides would hurt the game more than it would do any good. Besides, if it wasn't for this aspect ratio, we wouldn't have gotten Sperm main character with sunglasses. No less. They're supposed to be these spirits of the dead. But I mean, you could have chosen any design, man. Any design. Sperm main character, amongst a dozen other side borders, can be selected from the main menu to quote-unquote compensate for the 4:3 and give it a personalized touch. New borders are unlocked by simply playing the game, alongside music and illustrations of environments and characters you've encountered while playing. Really dig the inclusion of never-before-seen concept art, and the ability to switch between and compare the original and rearranged tunes. Really fuck with the stylish look of all of this as well, with the spinning LP record, the little girl jamming along on the couch, and the different tracks presented as a film roll. Artwork looks clean as hell too. This style of illustration is not only right up my alley, but also helped tremendously in creating a thumbnail. To round out the extras, there are the challenges and ghost puzzles, the former of which is just the Steam achievements, but in-game. I mean, yeah, that's cool, I guess. And the latter are the switch the tile to create a scene from the game, a type of puzzles. Apparently these were popular on the smartphone version of the game, and they're okay as an extra feature, but it feels like a strange and unnecessary afterthought that totally pales in comparison to the amazing adventure that is Ghost Trick, a Phantom Detective. That's truly the label this game deserves. This is the most preachy video I've posted in a while. And in all honesty, I don't give a fuck. This game has impressed me. Mom, can you come get me now? My tummy hurts. You could say it doesn't have the most in-depth story of all time, and that it doesn't have a billion fleshed out complicated mechanics. But it's not trying to be either of those things. It uses the simple mechanic of having an object do one specific thing, to create clever and complicated puzzles to break your head over, while always being solvable by logical thinking and understanding cause and effect relationships. And while the story isn't a Nier Automata or Nayuta no Kiseki, it's an immersive story with some ingenious plot twists at the end that'll keep you asking questions about what's what, and wanting to know what happens next at all times. Taking its time and using logic to directly answer questions like, if I can manipulate shit, why don't I just take over my own corpse and fix the situation? Early on, and eliminating every single why is this the way it is plot hole throughout the rest of its runtime to prevent this ghost manipulation, going back in time bizarre adventure, descending into a supernatural Swiss cheese of a plot. In its final moments, I truly felt like every single thing made sense. Not to mention the expressive, extravagant main and side characters with their overblown animations and speech mannerisms being a fucking joy to behold, carrying the story's delivery to new heights. The upscaled and enhanced remaster experience with the numerous unlockables and stupid little game mode is the remaster this oddball gem of a game deserved. I really like the way they handled this. The game looks, plays and sounds fresh and modern, while also never forgetting where it came from. Quite literally. Budgetary reasons or not, this is exactly how they should have gone about things. This is, without a doubt, the definitive version of the game. But I do wonder about one thing in particular. Why in tarnation did they stick with the Comic Sans font? Ugh! Yucky, yucky! Ew! Okay.